Thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Mocha. This is the Gut Wrench podcast, and I've got some news to share with everyone. A rumor roundup apparently says that Cody Rhodes, after the WrestleMania, the Backlash WrestleMania pay-per-view, or the Backlash to WrestleMania pay-per-view, Cody Rhodes is apparently done with WWE, because the plan is, apparently, according to the rumor roundup, but you can't always believe what you hear on the internet, that Vince McMahon has plans for Brock Lesnar to win at the next pay-per-view, which is the Backlash to WrestleMania, I think it's called, or WrestleMania Backlash. But anyway, it sounds pretty stupid to me, If you're thinking about, the fact that Cody's legacy, and I don't know where his dad stopped, if possible, if his brother even ever won the world championship. But according to what I've heard, not read, but heard, Cody, his father, and his brother have never really won the big championship, the big brass ring, so to speak. Cody and his family have always fallen short at the finish line, so to speak. And with that in mind, I really don't know how else to put this, but if WWE is going to make Cody lose at the Backlash to WrestleMania, like the rumor roundup apparently says that is going to happen, Cody is asked for his release from the company after Backlash to WrestleMania, because they're just being petty at this point. They're kind of like, hey, Cody, good to see you again. You remember those 7 years you spent as Stardust, right? You remember the last time you were seen on TV? Because we sure don't, We don't remember anything, any part of that. For those of you who don't know, the Fastlane 2014 or 2015 pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong, it could be the 2016 pay-per-view, but somewhere around those 3 years, I want to say 2016, honestly, just off the top of my head, somewhere around the Fastlane pay-per-view, which usually took place in February, so I want to say February 2016, Cody Rhodes did a segment with his dad before he died, and the segment suggested something more nefarious, and what ended up happening was Cody looked at his father as his father's asking him, now, Cody, I don't understand you. For some context, Rhodes and Goldust just got done, I should say Stardust and Goldust just got done losing to the New Day. Thanks to... Yeah, I really don't know what the outside factor was, now that I think about it. But afterwards, Dustin Rhodes, went ahead and pulled Cody in for the handshake, and he was telling him, it's going to be okay, Cody, it's going to be okay, as the New Day walk off, as they retain their tag team championships, which they looked really good in that match, and so did Cody and Dustin. But anyway, as Goldust pulls in Stardust for a hug. Goldust turns away from Stardust, and Stardust hits Goldust with the Crossroads. And then afterwards, he runs to the back, and then his father confronts him. Dusty Rhodes confronts him and then says, Cody, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. You know, that's your brother. Now, you're supposed to have his back, he's supposed to have your back. I don't understand any of this. And then he's like, you stupid, senile old man. And then he just goes on a rant, a tirade almost like, and he ends it by saying, as far as I'm concerned, Cody Rhodes is dead. And so are you. And then he walks off. That was the last time that Dusty Rhodes was seen on WWE TV. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stardust. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast. And honestly, if destiny had to be, and Cody Rhodes does end up losing to Brock Lesnar, like the top comment on that video from the Rumor Roundup said, I wouldn't blame him one bit for them being this petty. Today, we will be looking at a non-WWE pay-per-view because as far as I know, the tag team championships have not changed hands from WWE. Also have some more news before we get into Winter is Coming 2020, an AEW pay-per-view, by the way, which was really good. Honestly, their lowest rated match, I think, was a 2.5 out of 5 stars, or a 3 out of 5 star match. So, you know, one of those two. I'll have to check my notes again. Thank you all once again for joining me. Like I said before, don't mean to sound like a broken record. Some more news, however. CM Punk is scheduled to return to AEW, and he's also scheduled to return to AEW. I wanted to say something like give an apology to, John Moxley or something like that, but he's probably not going to do that. Nonetheless, he said that he would like to return to AEW, and I don't know how to feel about this, because on one hand, I was sort of right. On another hand, I was sort of wrong, because if you'll remember, there was a certain podcast episode that I did where I came out and then I said, congratulations, CM Punk, you made me look like a complete doofus. And now I have to say that I was wrong for a fourth time. I remember that episode. I remember coming out and saying, I was wrong for a fourth time. CM Punk made me look like a real doofus, because the week before that I said, if you think CM Punk is going to take his ball and go home like he did in WWE, you're dead wrong. Just because he can't be world champion, or just because he lost the world championship match, doesn't mean anything. You should have seen those people, though. Honestly, you should have seen those people. They were clapping to CM Punk versus John Moxley. So, whenever I said that, I thought I was right. But now that it's, I want to say 10, 12, 15, 25 episodes later, I was right. So I don't know whether to make that four times that I was wrong, because I've been wrong before, but only a handful of times. Less than a handful, if anything, because 4 is how many fingers that I have on one hand plus one thumb. But I don't exactly know, was I wrong at the time? Was I right in the big picture? I feel like I should chop off one finger and then just say 3.5 times. I've been wrong about every major decision in professional wrestling. Everything else, I'm practically Jesus about, as far as professional wrestling goes. Not comparing myself to any messiah anywhere. I just don't want, like, some terrorist group at my door saying, "Oh, you compared yourself to Jesus. Rot in hell." Big bomb show up at my front door. Anyway, aside from any of that nonsense, you should also go check out, if you're a huge wrestling fan, as huge of a wrestling fan as I am, you should also go check out Ted Hill at the Billy Hill podcast. You should also go check out the Late Night Wrestling podcast, who is doing a season finale next week, I think he said, which is very interesting to me. He also shouted me out in his last episode, and he still can't say my name right, nor can he type it, apparently. He keeps calling me Coco. I don't understand why. Maybe he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm not sure exactly how, people from North Carolina, Kentucky, I'm not sure how they operate, They think differently, It's kind of like, maybe he's like Crash Bandicoot or something. He can only make so many facial expressions. He can only say, maybe he can only say 13 words out of the 26 words, 13 letters out of the 26 letters in the alphabet, I don't know. Maybe he's just got heartburn like I do. But, anyway, we're going to be reviewing Winter is Coming 2020. Thank you all so much for joining me. Once again, my name is Mocha. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast. Sorry for doing my intro 3 times, but I meant to get to, usually whenever I do my intro, it's to get to the wrestling, not to get to the updates and news that are coming your way. What the fuck am I, a news anchor? I am not a news anchor. The following is a Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. There's a lot of participants. They're not all getting entrances, and for that matter, they're not getting introductions. So I'm not going to tell you who all is in it, but I will tell you some of the highlights that I did see from said Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, or Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. Now, the participants have one goal, and that's to get down to the last 2 remaining people in the match, the last 2 remaining men. And they don't start the match in the ring, which I thought was really weird. Instead, they start the match outside the ring, and then whenever the bell rings, they all go into the ring. They all slide into the ring. Yeah, I will simply tell you who wins in what commentary focuses on. The last 2 wrestlers in the ring will be declared the winner. And next week, they will go one-on-one for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And MJF has something to say, so here's what he says. Michael Jordan, 96-97. Tom Brady, 04-05. And now, Friedman, 2019 to 2020. MJF comparing himself to some of the best, proverbial, the best level of those goats. Shawn Spears, after being eliminated from the Battle Royal, comes back with something loaded in his glove and hits Scorpio Sky with a loaded glove and got him eliminated. So some of these Battle Royals, they usually come with no caveats whatsoever. So it's extremely easy to cheese if you have a rival in there, but you get eliminated like Shawn Spears did. It's extremely easy to just cheese it and then just be like, and then just be petty for the reason of being petty. You know, it's extremely easy to like, even though you're eliminated from the participating event, you can still go into the ring and then eliminate someone else, and they will be considered to be eliminated, which I think is really stupid. Because if you're not officially a part of the event, or if you're not officially like, if you've officially been eliminated and you're no longer participating in the event, you shouldn't be able to have an effect on the event after the time that you have been eliminated, if that makes sense. And it does. And it does. Trust me. Hangman Adam Page gets saved by the Dark Order, somewhat crowd surfing on their 7 or 12 members. Did Matt Hardy eliminates Hangman Adam Page. Junior JR calls Hardy's teeth giant. He said, and Matt Hardy and his giant teeth. And then I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what? The man's got a great smile. Don't make fun of him for it, you know? The final four consist of Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, and MJF of the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle members realize that even though Orange Cassidy is on the outside of the ring, he is not eliminated. Because in order to eliminate someone, they made this extremely clear at the beginning of the event. You have to throw them over the top rope. Cassidy, however, was not thrown over the top rope. He was eliminated, or he wasn't eliminated because he ducked under the bottom rope. Understand the distinction. You are eliminated whenever you are thrown over the top rope. Members of that, even though Cassidy is on the outside of the ring, he was not eliminated. Upon trying to eliminate Cassidy, Wardlow got tripped and ended up eliminating himself. The Inner Circle members MJF and Wardlow throughout that thought that they had won the match when Wardlow realized that Orange Cassidy had not been eliminated, and then brought him into the ring and then tripped while trying to attempt to eliminate Orange Cassidy, because Cassidy ended up like tripping him. And then afterwards the best friends come out, you know, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor. They end up coming out to, of course, give Cassidy a hug and a congratulatory, you know, arm raise. It was a really entertaining match, honestly, and it told a beautiful story, not only of the cracks that are forming, believe it or not, between the Inner Circle, but also how strong the friendship of the best friends are. That being Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, and Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. one of or a combination of the two of those groups is known as Just Friends, and another combination of the two of those groups is known as Best Friends, or all three of them are known as Best Friends collectively, and then like together any two combinations could be known as Just Friends. I'm still confused on the logistics of it because they never really make it abundantly clear. They're always switching it, and I swear it's so annoying. Nonetheless, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars despite it not being one-on-one content. It was still a very entertaining, very lucid match, and it told a great story. I do apologize for the interruption earlier, but there was someone who unexpectedly just happened to walk through the fucking front door there. I don't want them to think that I'm talking to myself, because a lot of them don't know, hey, there's a guy in there and he's talking. What's he doing? You know, and they're obviously under the influence of drugs or some sort of substance, or they've used it for an elongated amount of time to where they don't understand they don't even have basic conversation skills. I'm telling you guys, it is so annoying sometimes. But it's fine. It's fine. I'll deal with this, and you guys sit back and enjoy the content. By the way, did you know that I sold merchandise? I meant to plug that at the beginning of the show, because I can't plug it at the end of it, because by that point in time, most people are clicking off. By the way, did you know that I sold merchandise? The new Gothic collection is out now. And for those of you who don't know what the Gothic collection is, allow me to educate you a little bit. A little bit of a pre-roll here, midsection. So basically anything that's dark, depicted as dark, and for that matter, you like Halloween? We got Halloween all year long. The only thing that I don't sell is, and I'm working on it, ashtrays, thongs and underwear. Let me think. We don't sell bandanas, really. But don't worry, we're working on lunch boxes, ashtrays, thongs, and underwear, and coming soon, a commercial or two. Too bad I couldn't get the commercial to go up this past week, but it's just because of my sleep schedule, and I wanted to stay up past like 3 o'clock in the morning. Didn't happen. Had to just... my engine shut down. I decided it was a good idea to take a little bit of a nap, and I was out like a light. Anyway, getting back to this right here. The two people who ended up winning the match, by the way, was Orange Cassidy and MJF. And MJF thought for sure that Wardlow was going to end up winning. In the process of trying to allow Sammy Guevara to win, he accidentally shoved, I'm going to put that in air quotes, accidentally shoved Sammy Guevara off of the top rope, and he also accidentally, or I suppose on purpose, actually, he shoved Jungle Boy Jack Perry. So he got Perry out, he got Jungle Boy out, but he sort of backed up, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Sammy, I didn't mean to get you. I was trying to get Jungle Boy." And everybody was, except for one person on commentary, was like, he was trying to get Jungle Boy. You saw what he was doing. He wasn't trying to aim for Sammy Guevara. And Guevara was so mad at him. He was like, "Come on, man. We rehearsed this. It's supposed to be us." But Wardlow and MJF thought that they had the match won until Wardlow realized that Orange Cassidy hadn't been eliminated. He goes to pick up Orange Cassidy and put him on his shoulder to eliminate him properly, but Cassidy shifts his weight halfway through Wardlow carrying him over the top of the ring ropes, and whenever Cassidy does that, Wardlow gets knocked out of the Diamond Battle Royal, and whenever he does, MJF and Orange Cassidy end up winning, and I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Next we have Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. Jericho, the late champion, despite him not holding a championship at this time. Jericho, the wizard. Jericho, the I mean, he's got a lot of nicknames, doesn't he? He does got a lot of nicknames. Y2J, except he's not going by that at this point. Jericho comes out, and the crowd is singing along to his theme song, and he looks elated. He's so happy. They're singing along to, his new Judas song, or whatever it's called. Used to before. Actually, I hadn't mentioned this before, but believe it or not, there was actually a statistic that Jericho and Shawn Michaels were the only two professional wrestlers to ever have the same entrance music their entire career. Now it's down to one, because Shawn Michaels is the only person to ever, and I mean ever, have the I'm just a sexy boy. That's been his theme song his entire career. Almost been his first theme song. Someone fact check me if I'm wrong. Let me know on Twitter. And by the way, you can follow me at P1_BAYY. I think. Hang on. Let me check that. Shh. Nobody say nothing. No, it's P1_BBAY. P1_BBAY. I don't know why I keep thinking that there's 2 Y's. Yeah, it's not important. Hangman Adam Page gets just saved by the Dark Order. Okay, Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. The crowd sings along to... And JR finds it funny to plug his own barbecue sauce. He says, you can go to jrsbarbecuesauce.com to pick up yours today. And no, it's not sponsored. Thank you, JR. Perhaps maybe one day in the future, maybe next week or the week after, I'll go to jrsbarbecuesauce.com. I'll see if it's like really expensive. I'm not going to get it. There better be fucking gold in that goddamn barbecue sauce if it's really expensive. Because I'm not just going to order some Oklahoman barbecue sauce and sit here and chow down on it. They drink the whole fucking bottle for you guys just to not get my money's worth, But anyway, jrsbarbecuesauce.com to pick up yours today. No, it's not sponsored. If you were wondering, would be nice to have sponsored JR's barbecue sauce, though. They say that Frankie Kazarian has a victory over Okada, who was the number 1 Japanese wrestler in the world at this time. Frankie Kazarian is a 22-year veteran of the business, and yeah, I've seen Kazarian around a lot. Like, he was in Impact Wrestling, for instance. He was part of a group known as Ego. Before he was Ego with Christopher Daniels, he was the Dirty Heels with Christopher Daniels as well. So, yeah, him and Daniels had a lot of fun in Impact Wrestling, and oh my god, they're so good. They're, like, tag team wrestling wise, practically no one better. I want to say practically because I can't think of anyone better, but I'm sure that there's someone out there who could give Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels a run for their money. I'm just not thinking of them, you know? Nonetheless, Kazarian has already seen, they were practically saying that, hey, Kazarian's a 22-year veteran, don't count him out just yet because he's a 22-year veteran. There's not a trick in the book that Jericho can do to Frankie Kazarian that he hasn't already seen or prepared for. That's practically what they're trying to say. They're really talking as though that Frankie Kazarian is a real threat to Jericho. Kazarian performs what's known as a Spanish fly, but for some reason Excalibur calls it the flux capacitor, perhaps making a Back to the Future reference, which Frankie Kazarian was not a part of the Back to the Future franchise, if I remember correctly. I don't remember seeing him in any of those movies, but that's okay. Excalibur knows apparently what the name of the move is. I shouldn't get all bent out of shape because I thought that it was a Spanish fly, and despite the fact that I'd seen Spanish fly and I'd called Spanish flies 3 fucking times on this podcast, this of course being number 3, because the other 2 times it was done by a woman known as Io Shirai on another woman known as Candice LeRae, and I've given 2 of those matches out of 2, 5 out of 5 stars, and despite the fact that I've been constantly for like 4 weeks now trying to find a picture of Io Shirai that I can actually edit in a way that her and Candice LeRae are on my poster. I wanted that to be a surprise, but I guess they just ruined it. They went and ruined everything, I was trying to get Io Shirai and Candice LeRae on my next poster, because for right now, all I have is Alexa Bliss. There's nothing wrong with Alexa Bliss, but, she's not on that level, I hate to say it. Alexa is beautiful and talented, but she's not on that top niche Japanese luchador wrestling level. Anyway, the flux capacitor is what Excalibur calls the Spanish fly, and Jericho kicks out. There's a lot of layers. There are some layers to this story that you're seeing in front of you. The first layer is the perception is reality. So Jericho is being put into a submission maneuver when his own teammates come out, the inner circle. They come out, and whenever they do, MJF has that white towel in his hand, and he's about to throw in the towel because, Jericho's not responding to anything that Frankie Kazarian is doing, and Kazarian's got like a dominant position right now on Jericho, and MJF is about to throw in the towel whenever Sammy Guevara takes the towel from MJF, and whenever he does, he gets in MJF's face, and Jericho gets up from the position that he was in while he was in the ring, and whenever Jericho looks up, he sees that, like I said, Jericho never seen MJF holding the white towel, trying to throw it in so that he would surrender for his teammate, rather. The only thing that Jericho sees is that Sammy Guevara has the towel, and then he looks at Guevara, and then he's like, were you just about to throw in the towel for me? And Guevara is trying to explain to him that MJF had the towel. Like I said, perception is reality. So Jericho thinks that it was Guevara that was trying to throw in the proverbial towel, but in fact it was MJF. And when the match is over, the interference starts. You know, like everybody comes down. SCU comes down, which is Frankie Kazarian's tag team partner. Scorpio Sky. Let me think. The Inner Circle starts getting into a big hula ball, a whole bunch of, in your face type of reality. And then Jericho finally takes the microphone and he says, "This has to stop. This has to stop." And then he goes, "Next week, I'm giving you all an ultimatum. Okay? So, get your shit together." Like that. I don't know if you guys watch Rick and Morty or not. There's an episode wherever Morty tells Summer to get her shit together. He's like, "Get your shit together and get it all in a suitcase. Just get it together and put it in a suitcase and just get it together, Summer. Get all your shit. And I'm talking all of it." And then she's like, okay, Morty." It's so funny. It's so funny. But anyway, it's just Jericho saying that he's going to give his own group an ultimatum. And practically MJF has been the front runner this entire time to try to break up the Inner Circle. And I love what happened next week because I actually seen what happened next week. It's really rememberable for me. I love how they corner MJF and then they're kind of like, "Do you think we're stupid?" He's like, Jericho gets MJF basically, and then he's like, "We talk. You know that we talk, right? And we talk about you. We know what you're doing." And he practically kicks MJF and Wardlow out of the Inner Circle. Because that's so non-cliche. That's something that you wouldn't see coming, because what you were expecting was, "Oh damn, the Inner Circle is done. They're trash." I guess just another group that Jericho was a part of, Let's just mark that one down with him being a part of what's the name of that group? With he's a bald guy. What's he? Howard Finkel. And no one remembers that, do they? Or that black guy, I forget his name. Man, it was Jericho's second year in WWE, but it's not important, I guess. MJF and Sammy Guevara start shoving each other, and Wardlow and Jake Hager start shoving each other, and Jericho grabs a microphone and tells them that they've got 7 days to straighten up or the Inner Circle will no longer be a team. They will be gone and never return again. Which, in hindsight, was MJF's plan all along. During an interview with the Young Bucks, the AEW Tag Team Champions, and at the same time, the number one tag team in professional wrestling, according to a lot of critics, well, they mention according to a lot of people, is what they say. So, maybe it's not critics. Who possibly had the best tag team match at Full Gear, which, once again, they mention. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. They did win Tag Team of the Year. I'm just not sure when it was. So maybe that's what they're referring to. And Classic Max Caster, as always, has to freestyle. And here's what he had to say. The Young Bucks are a couple of punks looking at each other's chunks. Looking at each other's junks on the cover of their book. Know they got moved to the adult section I can I can't tell through your tights, did y'all have an erection? I'm just saying it's kind of strange. Y'all are brothers and you're looking at each other's things. We put it on our shelves, make a name, and we're going to make a name for ourselves or something like that. Of course, they said, and we are the Acclaimed, in which they are. Anthony and Max of the Acclaimed. That may have been like their debut. I'm not 100% for sure. That last match, though, did I give it a rating? Yes. Shit. 4 out of 5 stars. Beautiful contest from start to finish. I think that Frankie Kazarian should have won, maybe. It would have made more sense seeing as though that they were talking up Frankie like he had a good game going for him, saying that he had beat Okada and saying stuff like that, and then for Jericho to win, sort of doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, his tag team partner lost earlier in the day, so it does make sense that both members of SCU would end up losing. Like if Scorpio Sky were to win the Battle Royal that they just got done having earlier in the night, then it would make sense for Frankie Kazarian to win here as well. That way that the entire team gets some sort of actual win, But it makes sense where both members of SCU ended up losing. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, which, by the way, Adam Cole's kind of funny on Twitter. He said, I put the D in DMD, which is kind of funny because, he's her boyfriend. So, versus legit Layla Hirsch, which I've talked about her once before. In an interview, Dr. Baker said that 2 weeks ago she was delighted to return to Dynamite and get rid of the, quote, riffraff of AEW, end quote, because Thunder Rosa does not belong here, and as the face of the woman's division, it is her job to get rid of the trash. Winter is coming. And so is Layla's one-way plane ticket back to Russia. The commentary team is calling Brian Baker's best friend. Oh, okay. That's not supposed to say Brian. Holy crap. Not only did I get one name wrong, but I got two names wrong. Or commentary got one name wrong, and I got another name wrong. So, carry on. The commentary team is calling Britt Baker's best friend, calling her Reba, and her name is Rebel. How unprofessional. 3 out of 5 stars after this match was over. Thunder Rosa shows up and interferes and starts beating on Britt Baker. And for those of you who don't know, I sell merchandise, by the way. So maybe you should go check it out. There may or may not be a description. There may or may not be a link in the description. So if you don't want to, if you're not feeling too generous supporting me on like Cash App or something like that, not dropping me $1 or something, maybe you can get you a duffel bag. Maybe you can get you a backpack, for that matter. Maybe, just maybe, you can get you some thongs, some underwear, a wallet, I don't know, a lunch box, we are extremely busy here at the Gut Wrench podcast. Ain't we, guys? You can't hear them, but they're typing on their computers so vigorously. Good job, fellas. Lady fellas. But what we do here at the Gut Wrench podcast is we like to make sure that you're taken care of in the threads that you have. So you can buy your mini skirts, your leggings, your socks. We sell socks. You gotta have socks, especially for the winter. And remember, winter is coming. No, I'm joking. It's like 5 months away, maybe 6. Shit, let's not think about that. But anyway, they got this woman's name wrong. They kept calling her Reba. Her name's Rebel. Cody Rhodes wants to know why Taz's son is not training with his father, Taz, and wants to know why the champion... Oh, Taz wants to know why his championship... Oh my god. So this was poor storytelling at its best. Because Taz, for some reason, wanted to know why his FTW championship wasn't, getting respect on its name. And here's the thing. Even today, they use it as sort of like a transitional championship. I hate to use that word, but it's kind of like, hey, guys, we need a title match tonight, but I don't really think that we should do like a TNT championship match. Right. Not a tag team titles match either. Okay, well, definitely not a world title match. We can't give that away for free. What are you, crazy? This man don't work for free, am I right? I got an idea. And then someone goes, how about that old, irrelevant championship that used to be relevant back in the 80s? That's a great idea. I still got it. Here it is. Okay, well, I practically owned ECW, so I guess I can use it. And they just bring it out. So there you go. That's just how it works. Taz wants to... I mean, in the promo package that they showed for this match, it was so poor. It was so poor. It showed Cody Rhodes in the ring, right? And then Rhodes is just like talking about something about... I don't know about you, Taz, but it seems to me like it's very disrespectful that your son isn't training with you. And then he's just all of a sudden mad about it. Oh, you put disrespect on my name, and now we're going to show you what disrespect is. And now Cody Rhodes has to team up with Darby Allin, the TNT champion, who's not putting his title on the line tonight for whatever reason, because this is supposed to be a special event or a pay-per-view event, and you would figure that they would have a championship on the line aside from the main event, which we'll get to here in just a second. So many things wrong with this match. So many things. I mean, not only is it a tag team match, not only is it about some foreign disrespect that I don't even see existing, as Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes face off against Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks of Team Taz. I give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, see, this was the lowest rated match on the card right here. Was a nice match, but lazy storytelling. And this is where Sting made his debut. This is where the lights went out, and all of a sudden you just seen like the winter wasteland, and snow was falling from the sky. And after the match, Sting came out and he held a ball bat in front of everyone's face, and he was looking them in the eyes, and he was being really mysterious and mystique about it. And of course on commentary they say that apparently this is his first time on TNT television in 18 years. Holy crap. And that was after he allegedly broke his neck, putting that in air quotes, from a spot done by Seth Rollins, where, I don't know about you guys, but I remember Twitter taking off and going ham, HAM, on Seth Rollins, just saying how lazy he was and how unappreciative he was of the later era of wrestling, and people just shitting on Seth Rollins just because, oh, he hurt Sting. Oh my God. And people are hypocrites too. Whenever Paige came back, she came back as Saraya. Whenever Sting came back and comes back as Sting, but they don't want to see Saraya. They don't want to see that. They wanted to see Paige. It's like it's the same goddamn person. You asked for her to come back, and she came back. CM Punk came back, but you didn't want to see him either. Cody Rhodes came back to WWE after in AEW, he grabbed a microphone and he told you all that he, quote, loves you, and you booed him out of the arena. What is wrong with people? I mean, that was in AEW, then he comes back to WWE and he's got extreme fanfare. Everybody loves him. Oh my God, we love him in WWE. We hate him in another company. It'd be like if I went to McDonald's, had a good reputation. Everybody loved me. But then I went over to Wendy's, became an executive, and everybody's like, that's the guy from McDonald's. Yeah, I wonder what he's up to. What the fuck? How did he get an executive position here at Wendy's? Yo, I think he's sleeping with my daughter. You know, like, just learn to love people. Learn to like them for them and not the company that they're affiliated with. If CM Punk comes back, this is what I'm trying to get at, okay? This has been bothering me. If Punk comes back, will you all just like him again? Please? Like, you have no reason to hate him. You have no reason to throw shade at CM Punk. This was my hero growing up from 2006 until present day. Simply because he lived his life a little bit different. And at the time, I didn't have a role model to look up to. This is just Mocha talking to you, heart to heart. Thread to thread, you know? Listen to what I'm saying. He lives his life a different way. My mom hated him because of it. Not to get personal or anything, but she's a drug addict and a drug dealer, possibly. I haven't heard from her in a long time, and I don't care either way. And the fact is that being around all the oxycodone and all of the heroin and the needles and everything that everybody wanted to be a part of, you know, and they feel so high about, you know, just to use a word, they're so high on it. Whenever I was introduced to CM Punk, the first words out of this man's mouth was, "Hi, my name is CM Punk, and I don't drink, and I don't smoke." And then they said, CM Punk, next, he makes his debut. Maybe we'll go back and look at that first episode of ECW where CM Punk actually made his debut. But in my book, actually, that I am writing right now, yes, I am writing a book. Yes, I am selling merchandise. And yes, this is practically the end of the show. I talk about CM Punk. Because character is defined by what you do when no one is looking. and what that man did when nobody was looking. You could say that he raised me to be the person that I am today. Not to get philosophical or anything, or for that matter, oh, little is me. He raised me and he didn't even know it. Also, another person happens to be a girl who raised me and doesn't even know it, and her name is Tara Strong. So, if you don't know who that is, she was probably a part of your childhood too. She played so many fucking cartoon characters, wasn't even funny. Growing up, she played Timmy Turner, she played Riku from Final Fantasy X-2 and Final Fantasy X. She played Chowder from Chowder. It's not important. But she doesn't know it, but she helped me grow up too. One thing I've noticed about AEW is they wait until the finish of the match before any interference or shenanigans takes place to further their stories, and I really like that about them. Because if you notice, back when wrestling was at its peak in the 90s, it used to be nothing but interference after interference after interference, with 5% chance that you wouldn't get any interference at all. Even in their video games, like if you've ever played the old Nintendo 64 video games, and you happen to have a rival in those video games, that rival would come out either to spite you or to spite your opponent. So, if you were having a one-on-one match and you can't control the settings in the career mode, and you can't, I mean, I'm just here to tell you, that's a no-go, Joe. Anyway, whenever you went to do a move to a certain person, or if a certain wrestling match went over a certain elongated amount of time, like say 3 minutes, a threshold, they would come out and they would either try to hurt you or they would try to help you. And most of the time it would either, one, cost you the match in the game, not because the referee would throw it out, because he wouldn't, despite there being legitimate, like, I can't tell you the number of times I was facing off against Steve Austin just to see The Rock come in and then hit me with a rock bottom, and then the referee not even call a disqualification, but Steve Austin just go and pin me. And then I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, that's, once again, neither here nor there. Hikaru Shida interview spot, and she seems to be the AEW Women's Championship at the time, and Shida says that she is not afraid of something that falls. Oh, okay, yeah. So next week she will be defending her AEW Women's Championship against the woman known as Abaddon, and Abaddon is in Akira Shida's own words, she is nothing more than a zombie cosplayer girl. But whenever something falls off camera, it makes sort of a metal clanking noise. It sounds like the rim of a vehicle falling off of the tire. But whenever it falls, Akira Shida, she wants nothing to do with this interview, despite saying that she's not afraid. She's just like, you see, I gotta go. And the funny thing is, she says, like, see, I gotta go. And when she says it, her Japanese accent goes away. I mean, I was like, wow. She said it so much that her Japanese accent just vanished. Jon Moxley, shoot promo, and he says, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Only one thing left to do is to put on a show that people are going to love, that people will talk about for years to come. He talks about how the fact that people already written him off, the John Moxley is nothing more than a clown. But he put the wrestling world on notice whenever he bitch slapped it. And they knew he knew that Kenny Omega and John Moxley were destined rivals. Whether they knew it or not. But championship over his shoulder, he points to it as a target. Yeah, so basically the championship over his shoulder makes him a target. And he's here to defend it. So, before we get to that, however, this is not another merchandise plug, don't worry. The Yapper Dapper, which is the name that Justin Roberts goes by, I'm not sure why, but nonetheless, it's not important, has something to say about Kenny Omega. Now, for those of you who don't know, Omega's made it abundantly clear that he wants an introduction for a king. So, over the years, his introduction's gotten more and more lengthy, so much so that the Yapper Dapper Justin Roberts has had to pull out a cue card once in a while just to have to read off Mr. Omega's introduction, which I think is really funny. But anyway, that's not the case. But if we were to look at Kenny Omega like 6 or 8 months from now, from this point, it gets ridiculous. Anyway, he has held 16 different championships. In 16 different singles championships in the professional wrestling world. Keep in mind that's over 3 companies. He is an 11-time. He is on an 11 AEW match win streak, which doesn't make much sense because whenever he comes out, the graphic updates to let us know that he's 7-0 at the point of this, unless he's had. And they do say he's on an 11 AEW match win streak. Doesn't make much sense if you're 7-0. They say AEW match win streak. Why is he counting his Impact Wrestling wins then? That makes no sense. His 33 wins are more than anyone in the AEW roster, which once again doesn't make any sense because he doesn't have 33 wins unless he means 33 wins overall, and they're just counting the wins from like 2020 thus far, which is only 7, which would mean that he's counting his wins last year. Because the records they reset every year, according to what I understand. But yeah, his record is 7-0. I'm curious to know how he's on an 11-match win streak, like Justin Roberts just got done saying. AEW World Championship is on the line. Apparently Don Callis knew Kenny Omega's famous uncle in Canada, and knew Kenny Omega since he's 10 years old. Omega's uncle was known as the Golden Sheik, but I'm not sure whether or not to believe anything that Don Callis says because he's a heel. So the end of this match was seen as somewhat controversial because John Moxley would throw Kenny Omega out of the ring, and in doing so, after he hit him with a belly-to-belly suplex, I think that the move was, or a backdrop of some sort of suplex backdrop, he would end up hurting Omega. At least that's what they say on commentary. They call for the doctor to come down. It looks like it was a work though, because once the doctor comes down, he's asking Kenny if he's okay, and Don Callis comes down. Whenever Don Callis comes down, he grabs. It makes sense now. He basically gives something to Omega. You were thinking, what was it? Was it brass knuckles? Was it the poison mist? What exactly did he give Mr. Kenny Omega? He gave him a microphone. Gave him a microphone, and when John Moxley got tired of waiting, there's a whole bunch of officials around Kenny Omega just surrounding him, asking him if he's okay. There's a doctor. The doctor's right there, and Kenny's not saying a word. He gets up, and then afterwards he smacks John Moxley right between the eyes with a microphone, and it makes sort of a, you guys would know what kind of noise it would make, right? Hang on, brace yourself. Somewhat of a thudding, smacking noise. And afterwards, John Moxley's busted open. He's bleeding, and he's bleeding almost from ear to ear. He's gushing the blood like a fruit, like a watermelon. I don't even know if watermelon's a fruit. I don't even know why I said fruit. I meant to say like fruit gusher or something. Once again, not sponsored. Sad times. Can't even get a sponsor around here. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Afterwards, Omega hits him with a one-winged angel, and as you know, if you've heard it once from me, you'll hear it 1,000 times. Nobody. And especially the package that they put together weeks later, where Kenny Omega, wherever they were showing the highlights of this match, right? And Omega said, "Nobody." And I mean, nobody. As it was showing the highlights, it was echoing Omega's voice. And in the highlight package, when he gets to that part right there, nobody. And I mean nobody. And then it starts echoing the nobody, 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 nobody. Like that. The referee's hands coming down for the 2. And then the referee's hands coming up for the 3. And then as the referee's hands coming up for the 3, and as the echo stops, and Omega's voice is heard again, he says, kicks out of the one-winged angel. And then after that, Moxley just kicks out of the one-winged angel right at the time that Omega said that. Whoever edited that package, God, they're so good. Oh my God, teach me. No, come here, teach me how you edit that, please, because I want to know who taught you so that you can teach me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. Thank you all so much. I do apologize that this is a day late, because I had some drug addicts at my house again, and I'm almost certain that they're scheduled to be back at any point in time. One of them walked in while I was recording. I know that you guys get the gist of why I, done the whole mute thing, so that they don't think that I'm some crackhead, because they're crackheads, and I don't want to associate myself with crackheads. Thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Mocha. Good night. That's a wrap.